Introduction. Runnymede sits astride the Mason Dixon line. The Marylanders declared their side of town was founded in 1659, 18 years after the King granted Maryland's charter. Those on the Pennsylvania side consider this piffle, but did admit that William Penn did not receive his charter from the restored Charles II until 1681. However, they swore a few farms had been established before that. It's never a good idea to get into an argument with a Marylander. The residents of Baltimore fired on federal troops on April 19, 1861, furious that their repose had been so rudely disturbed. But then, Baltimore has always been peculiar. Finally, Charles Mason and Jeremiah Dixon surveyed the dividing line between the two contentious states. No easy task. They began in 1763 and finished in 1767. As neither state felt satisfied, it can be concluded that the Mason-Dixon line is accurate. The Marylanders regarded the residents of York County, Pennsylvania, as vulgar. The Yorkers considered the residents of Carroll County, Maryland, dreadful snobs. As residents from both sides of Runnymede paraded around the beautiful square in all but the worst weather, they were unfailingly courteous to one another. The minute a pleasant exchange ended between people from opposite sides, each felt the other a hypocrite. But then, hypocrisy has always greased the wheels of society. Men tipped their hats to ladies. Ladies smiled sweetly. Folks admired one another's dogs and said they admired their children. Business was beginning to crawl out from the doldrums of World War I. York began to boom, and across the Susquehanna River, so did Lancaster. On the Maryland side, it was a hop, skip, and a jump to Baltimore, and thanks to a good harbor, that city was recovering as international trade tried to return to pre-war activity. As the town was named for Runnymede in England, where King John signed the Magna Carta under a large oak tree on June 15, 1215, that great day was celebrated by all. Veterans marched in uniform. The ladies' auxiliary societies also marched in their colors, gray and gold or blue and gold. Veterans of the Spanish-American War marched, as well as the younger men recently home from the Great War. A large bandshell sat at the Baltimore Street entrance to the square, half on the Maryland side and half on the Pennsylvania. While such attention to detail seemed excessive, it had proven prudent over other years, given the liberal and frequent application of libations for all. Fistfights could be broken up by each state's police department. Years back, when the cannon was discharged in an attempt to topple General George Gordon Meade, both police departments worked together to see to the safety of the public and of General Meade. The two high school bands played together in the bandshell. Chairs were set up for everyone, as well as a wonderful dance floor which circled the bandshell. These were dismantled every autumn and preserved for the next year. The Cakewalk, a pageant on the dance floor, proved a high point, various cakes being baked by the ladies of the town. One paid a quarter to participate. The proceeds were divided between the two veteran associations. Since many young men fought overseas, the hope was that enough money could be raised to help those in need. For a lady's cake to be included was a great honor, and her name was prominently printed in the Magna Carta Day celebration program. The Maryland newspaper printed the programs on even years, the Pennsylvania newspaper on odd years. Peculiar as it was, being divided by the Mason-Dixon line, Runnymede burst with pride and civic participation. Fuss and fight they might, but sooner or later, the residents of Runnymede would pull together. It was declared that the oak